This episode is being brought to you by Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Alaska Realty. Whether you're investing in residential, buying or selling, commercial properties anywhere in the state of Alaska, we're here to assist. To reach us, you can contact me at Lottie at LottieMichael.com or my cell phone, 907-242-7603. And for comments or questions about residential properties, reach out to Connie Yoshimura at 907-229-2703, 229-2703. Hello, and welcome back to Alaska Insider Real Estate with Connie and Lottie. Today we're doing something interesting. We're dialing it back so you can see what Lottie is, but this session is what Connie is. So I'm maybe not interviewing Connie, but I'm going to sit back and take notes to hear what Connie's story is. I really don't know where to begin. First of all, let me say that I'm proud to say that I'm 81 years old, which means that I was born in 1945. And if 45, anything about it, you know that the United States and the entire world almost was in a World War II. And I come from a Japanese American family. My father was born in the United States in Blythe, California. And so he was a Nisi, which makes me a Sansi. I don't even know if I pronounce it correct. I'm not familiar with those terms. That would mean I am third generation. Oh, okay. Third generation. Welcome. Thank you. Oh, no, you should say welcome to me. I'm first generation. All right. But the reality of the situation was I was raised by my Caucasian grandparents in Iowa. So it took me probably 40 years to actually learn how to use my chopsticks, actually. Wow. But coming from a mixed heritage, you said real estate insider. Let me just say that I've always felt that I was an outsider because I was raised in Iowa. I was the only minority child in grade school and in high school. And so I've always been an outsider. I'm also an only child, and I don't have a lot of this, what I'm going to say, the social skills that you have if you are part of a group of people, whether it's team sports or whatever. So today I will tell you that I still have all of those emotions of being an outsider. Yes, but see, I think that's what makes you successful. It puts that fire in your belly. You're an outsider. You have something to prove to yourself and to the world. And I think that's an asset. Thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. And I do think that's true because I do have a fire in my belly. But I also know that in residential real estate, if you have children and they go to school, that's where a lot of realtors find a good network to start with, or if they belong to social groups or they're in sports activities, or even if they're in a religious environment. So I don't have any of those. So I think what happened is I just had to work harder. And when I came to Alaska, I knew absolutely no one. I came with my boyfriend up the Alcan. I cried all the way. The only thing that I remember is that there was a lot of Chinese food, little stops right along the way, and oatmeal cookies, because I'm a foodie, so I would always remember all of that. And I just cried, and I just wanted to know if big planes landed, because I wanted to go back to California. Get on one. Well, yeah. But many of you may know that I am a poet by training. I was very fortunate that I had an interesting story to tell and just enough talent to graduate from the Writers' Workshop at the University of Iowa at Iowa City, which is a very well-known writing opportunity. I was one of 10 young writers in the United States that won a scholarship through the College English Association and the Book of the Month Club. But you won't find my name there because I used a pseudonym, because back in the early 60s, there was still a lot of memories about the war and all of that sort of thing. And even though that was part of my story, There was also a lot of prejudice about female poets and writers at that particular point in time. Sylvia Plath had put her head in an oven and committed suicide, and Anne Sexton was in a mental hospital for a while. And so it was, what are you going to do with your writing? Are you going to just write for the Ladies' Home Journal, which no longer exists, actually?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of prejudice for female writers at that time. That's not the story anymore. But poets and writers, most of them, unless you hit the New York Times bestseller list, are really poor and really, quite frankly, usually a little bit crazy because you have to think a little bit outside of the norm. And I didn't want to be poor and I didn't want to be crazy. And so
It narrows it down.
It fell into real estate by accident. I helped work my way through college, although I did have help from my family. My father helped me with my undergraduate education. My mother and her husband helped me when, this is a little side, my boyfriend at the time when I was in graduate school, we went to Canada, Toronto, actually to avoid the draft. And of course, now many of you know that I am married to a Vietnam veteran. So I've come full circle in regards to all of that. And I have a lot of respect for veterans, knowing what they went through, especially, not only especially, but during the Vietnam War. And of course, now there are ground troops in other areas of the world as well that experience combat. But I spent some time working in hospitality. So I would say when I was thinner, I worked in a cocktail lounge because the tips were better. But if I was a little bit heavier, I worked in the dining room, right? So many of you know that I have a food obsession, and twice I've weighed 250 pounds. Wow. That's been an important part of my life, those recoveries.
That speaks to your strength.
Well, I still talk to the refrigerator. And I still open up the refrigerator. That's what,
just to look at it.
After my dog greets me, the refrigerator greets me really seriously. But I started in real estate and I loved residential. And I think it has to do with my curiosity as a writer, because people come to you at a very important time in their life, because people buy and sell properties, residential properties, based upon marriage, birth, death, divorce, and
big deals.
Big deals, important time in their life. And I feel really honored that I get to hear their stories and know why they're sitting in front of me or with me.
See, you're nicer than me. I didn't want to hear any stories. I just didn't want to hear them.
I think those stories are pretty interesting. And I have, from time to time, when my husband and I went back to Vietnam, I did write a series of poems. And then I tried my hand at playwriting, actually. But I said, I'm not writing about real estate, but I did write one play about open houses, because open houses are so much fun. And when I started my real estate career, I knew no one. And so I did open houses.
Yeah.
And then I fell in love with new construction, actually, because from my Japanese American heritage, my family lost everything when they were interned. There were 11 internment camps, and they lost all their possessions, all their real estate, except what they could put in one little suitcase. And so I think that had an impact on me, reading about all of that. So I loved new construction. And then, so I worked with a variety of builders. And then, builders are fickle. It's like having an affair as opposed to a marriage, if I can say that really, quite frankly, because you can help them and guide them. But then once they get successful, they feel like they don't need you anymore, even though you've made their name a well-known name and all that sort of thing. So then I decided the best way to overcome all of that is to go into residential land development, because they'll have to come to me and stay with me because I will have the lots that they need. Right. We want to take a quick moment to thank Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Alaska Realty for supporting this episode. One of the things we appreciate about our team is that our agents do far more than open a door. We help clients understand neighborhoods, evaluate investment opportunities, navigate commercial leases, prepare homes for sale, and make smart long-term real estate decisions. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or a growing business looking for office space, or a national or international
Fortune 500 company exploring opportunities in Alaska. We're here to facilitate and help you. Visit Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, AlaskaRealty.com to connect with Lottie Michael at 907-242-7603 or Connie Yoshimura at 907-229-2703.
Right.
So
Well, you're the
that's
last
what I did.
real
So
estate
that's what I did.
Yeah, you're the last real estate developer standing. So for
Certainly.
residential lots,
But certainly now the builders have caught on and they do their own residential development. But I really don't want to do vertical construction.
yeah,
Vertical construction has 6,000 parts to it. And I would much rather talk to trees than, say, owning an apartment building and having tenants call you in the middle of the night and all that sort of thing.
yeah,
So and it's a very creative process because the type of community you create identifies who's going to live in that community. Now, I don't necessarily agree with all of that because I really got to the point where I believe in mixed density, where grandparents can live next door to their adult children and their grandchildren and all of that sort of thing. We still have a lot to accomplish in making those changes here. But I think Alaska and Anchorage in the South Central Alaska is a great experiment. And I am very comfortable here because I remember someone thinking that I was native because I had long hair and it was all black and didn't have shades of gray in it at that particular point in time.
so they thought you
So
were Alaskan native.
they thought that I was Alaska native. And so I feel really comfortable here because there are 156 different languages spoken in the school system. So I don't feel quite as alone as I have growing up in a small Caucasian town back in Iowa.
Yeah.
But I do also look around and say, who are the people that controls the commercial borrowing and all the banks and the boards? And yes, they do have a female member always, but when you look at it in all honesty, it's not my gender, it's not the females of the world, although they are CEOs now and all that sort of thing. But if you really look at how commercial lending takes place, women haven't caught up yet. So I'm very happy that for many decades, I have had the opportunity to work with a female lender. And really, quite frankly, I think I would not have the opportunities I have now if that hadn't happened.
Wow.
If I could just brag just a little, between Palmer and the municipality of Anchorage, I do have over 100 acres of residential development. It's been a long career to get to that point. So I am 81, but I am going to keep working because I have to create all those homes, all those home sites.
Yeah, you got to fill them up.
I got to fill them up. So I try really hard to take good care of myself. I do have physical therapists. I do keep track of my steps every day. And it used to be a couple of years ago, it was a lot easier to get 10,000 steps. But now on a daily basis, I try to get between 5 and 6 and then more on the weekends. And you and I walk on weekends. And then I have another friend that we walk to a market on Saturdays. So walking partners help a lot to stay healthy.
Yeah.
So that's
Well, it's interesting. So what would you say? That's good to know because, like I said, like I've always said, it's good to know who your tradespeople are, who you're putting confidence in. So what would you say to a young person or a person looking to make a career change?
You have to love what you do. And that's not something that you can pretend about. So when young realtors or realtors that are making a transition in life and they want to join a group or do some activity, I say, don't do anything unless you love it. Just going to the Anchorage Chamber on Monday at lunch is not going to get you any business. Now, if you truly love the chamber, then you serve on a committee, right? And you do something that you really want to do. Yeah, I can't do all of that. I figured out that I didn't fit into anyone else's culture, and so I had to create my own. That's really how I feel about it. So, and do something that you if you're going to have social activities, do something that you truly love, and that will make a difference in your abilities, your opportunities, I would say. And then you have to learn. There are people that come in and want to be a realtor, and they have lots of experiences. They have lots of social activities. Maybe they come from teaching, social work. CPAs do really well in commercial real estate because they have that background in training. Engineers are the most difficult people to train into real estate. But what I would say to them, knowledge is your most important asset. That whatever the knowledge you have and the more you have is the more opportunity that you will earn a good living in real estate. And I say it's like getting on the Ferris wheel. You fall off a couple of times or all that sort of thing. But once you figure out how to do it, you're safe and you can do as much as you want to do. Now, I've had to learn that not everybody has the same goals that I have, because they may have children, grandchildren. They just come from a different environment. I've had to learn to accept that not everyone is going to have the same goals, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to necessarily be a good realtor.
Yeah.
Because as long as they're honest and knowledgeable, that's the two most important things. You have to be honest with yourself first before you can be honest in regards to your career. That's it.
It's been a good ride so far.
Yes. Yep.
Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch up with you later. Now, tell us, how long have you been in the real estate business?
I'm going into my 19th year.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
congratulations, really.
I am.
What did you do before you went into real estate?
I was in the title business.
Mhm.
Yeah, I worked with commercial real estate. So I did mainly commercial real estate with the marketing department and did some title and some escrow as well. And prior to that, I was in the residential side of title insurance and escrow. And it was a great transition to go from there to real estate because the one challenge was that all of my sphere of influence were all realtors.
You also have another love, which is some athletic opportunities, right? So
Yes.
tell us about those.
So part of my longtime career in real estate involved me also coaching at West Anchorage High School for cross-country running, track and field. I was the head coach there for quite a few years. And it was just great giving back to the community, working with the young kids, their parents, the West Anchorage community. It feels like it's, I'm calling myself a Westie, even though I live in the downtown area. So yeah, and it was just it was a wonderful way of giving back. Got a lot of enjoyment and fulfillment out of it.
Well, I think that coaching is really part of real estate as well, right?
Yes, very much
It's
so.
just a different skill set and different knowledge, but it is still all about coaching people through one of the most important transactions of their life. But you made a switch several years ago in real estate. You were still in real estate, but you switched from direct listing and sales into sort of a luxury boutique property management company. And I remember I remember saying, Ruth, why would you want to do that? You were a very successful realtor. So tell me about that experience and what you've gained and learned and why you love doing that.
So
now
it wasn't so much of a switch as it was more of a additional service I offered because my main clientele is still going to be going to be working with buyers and sellers, but you're going to find there's always a need for housing, and some people just are not in a position to buy, or they have decided not to because they're only going to be here so many years. So there's always a need for housing. So I decided to go do a small boutique property management company at a certain price point, and that way I would market myself that way, and then I would be very hands-on. I'd offer a service where I'm very communicative. I'm available when something needs to be done. I immediately called them back. And I saw a need for that. There was one-on-one, contact and lots of interaction between not just the owners, but also the tenants as well.
Well, I think that's an exceptionally nice part of a real estate career. And how much longer you can sell real estate?
Till till I'm not breathing anymore.
That's right. That's how I feel. No, really.
Yeah, no.
Because it is a life. It is a lifestyle, and it's really very rewarding.
It
right?
really is.
Because you're helping people at a very important time in their life, whether they're sellers or whether they're renters. And you found a niche in the marketplace that I think was really, really lacking, which was professional, hands-on, day-to-day opportunities for sellers to find a good leasing agent to work with. Is there an additional charge for pets?
Yes, there is. Because I always encourage a pet deposit per pet.
Per pet. All right. Okay.
I always
there he is now. He's paying attention right now.
Pet. So pet deposits are really important because some people say, well, just raise the monthly rent. Could I do that? And I go, well, you're not going to get the benefit just raising the monthly rent. What you want to do is have a deposit. It gets deposited into the owner's account. Their security deposit, the tenant's security deposit, goes into the trust account of Berkshire Hathaway. But the pet deposit goes directly to the owner. And then they have the driver's wheel with that, because I do the final walkthrough with the tenant. And if it's in normal condition, not if it's usual wear and tear, not unusual wear and tear, then they'll get that deposit back. But if there's wear and tear from the pet, that deposit will get kept for.
So any final words of advice for renters? How can renters be competitive if the market is so tight? How can a renter, a potential tenant, get prepared?
Well, they need to have a good rental history, because I do a thorough background check. And if I find that they've always paid their rent on time, that they've got the owner of the property or the property manager says that they left the place in great condition, they paid their bills on time, their utility bills, they paid their rent on time, and have a good credit score, they're going to be the most desirable candidate for the owner to pick. And good job, history. I always call the employers to verify their job and their salary amount, all of that. And I get permission, of course, from, the tenant knows that up front, that's what I'm going to be doing through the background interview process.
Thanks again to Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Alaska Realty for sponsoring this episode. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in the great state of Alaska, be sure to contact us. Connie Yoshimura at 907-229-273, or for commercial activity, Lottie Michael, CCIM at
907-242-7603.